Good morning, children. And how are you today? Do you notice the weather is getting lovely? We're beginning to have a bit of spring, when all the plants and our flowers are starting to grow. Now you know it's the second week of Lent today, and I'd like to ask you, have you been doing anything for Lent? Have you given up any chocolates or sweets? Or have you done other things by doing a little good deed for someone? It might be as simple as saying thank you, or helping somebody, maybe around the house. But we do think in Lent, don't we, about others, and we think about Jesus. And we can also give more time to prayer. Now the aim today is to encourage us to be more faithful and to give a sense of adventure, faithfulness to God. Now Jesus, to get nearer to God, went into the wilderness, or we call the desert. The desert is a very bleak place in some ways. It's very quiet. There's not much there. It's just sand and occasional rocks. It's somewhere to go if you want to be on your own, to be quiet. Now Jesus knew what was going to happen to him. He knew that he was going to suffer greatly. And on the third day, he would rise again. He knew all this. And he wanted to be alone with God, so that he could spend quality time with him. He would have temptations in the desert, but he could spend time with God. It is important too in our lives, especially during Lent, but always, to have time for God. It's not easy being a Christian. It's not easy. We are often in a desert. I know I have been in my life recently. It's been a sad time for me. But I have begun to realise that Jesus is with me always. I can always turn to him, and if we let him in our lives, he will guide us, he will help us, and he will love us. It can be a difficult thing, as I said, but things we want to do are difficult, aren't they? If you want to learn a musical instrument, you have to practice really hard, and you have to dedicate your time to be able to play and to learn music. It's not easy. I always wanted to swim, and I learnt to swim at an early age. But to be a good swimmer, and I belonged to a club at one time, you have to practice. You have to do many lengths in the water, and you have to practice really hard, and also you have to build up your strength. Because any sport, football, tennis, most sports that I can say all need a certain amount of strength. And we have to build up our strength. My time, I didn't have gyms about. But you don't have to go to a gym. You can go walking, running. I used to cycle. I used to cycle everywhere. And that would strengthen you. And you'd be able to achieve what you wanted to. I was never a very good swimmer. I used to go to local galas. I didn't always win, very rarely. But I love the sport and I love swimming. And it's the same with you. To achieve, you have to practice. Now it's the same going back to God. And to spend our time with God. If you like, prayer can be practice. And we can pray to Him more often, especially in this time of Lent. We have got an activity sheet which gives easy lies when we were told that something will make you better and it turns out to be harmful for you. When you go climbing, there's a little note that says, "Come with me, we do not need guide or ropes." And of course you do, to climb up a mountain or to climb out of a sheer face. You would definitely need to learn how to use the ropes and everything. So you have to be aware of these things. Just as when I went cycling, I got my cycling proficiency badge. You have to be safe. We need to be safe in this world. But it still means that we can do the things we want to. And Jesus loves us. And I'm going to finish up now. To say a prayer. But before I do, I just want to make sure that you give your time for prayer during this week of Lent. And the prayer today is, God, you have called us to work with you and to do good for the world. Protect us from all evil and keep us in the right way today and always. I will be sending you a worksheet. And also I have a reminder about the Lent group that's starting on Wednesday, the 3rd of March. I have already sent round the Zoom details, so I look forward to seeing you there. Next week Maureen will be doing the talk. So if I don't see you in the Zoom meeting, I'll see you next week or the week after. Goodbye.